This is Digital Scouting calling. Trends from around the world. From Singapore,
George Kesselman.
Hello. Hi.
Great.
from Paris, France,
Joel.
from Dubai, UAE,
Namekan. Great. Cool.
and your host from the rainy but beautiful city of Hamburg, Germany, Dr. Robin Kira.
How does the insurance business look in your region? Because I think there are a lot of differences across the regions. And maybe since it's the latest in the day for George, maybe you start and tell us, how are insurances actually sold in Asia and in Singapore?
Sure. So for us, I guess the region is quite a diverse region. If you look at it, we have very developed countries and very developing countries like Southeast Asia itself is primarily developing. Places like Singapore, as well as the rest of the region, is still very much an intermediated model. So it is sold mostly through agents, brokers, and banks. I would say agents is still the predominant channel, even in developed countries like Singapore. So Singapore, I think right now, if I remember the stats correctly, we're somewhere between 40 to 50% sold through agents still. On the consumer side, obviously, and then we have about 40% bank, and then the remaining is kind of a split between the various channels. So somewhere around that, but it's still, the surprising part is still that online is very, very small percentage of it. It's still very much through a person kind of interaction sold by seeing somebody.
Joe, how about in France? How are insurances sold there?
In France, the history is really dominated by agents, with big insurers and big incumbents trying to dominate their own networks of agents. And then we had, maybe 20 years ago, a huge move towards brokers, which is developed now pretty good. And we see a little creation of direct distribution with the development of websites in order to try to address directly the final consumer. But it's, for right now, not working good, because in France we still need to have some explanations around the insurance products, which are still really complicated to understand. So we need the advices. We need to be accompanied by the agents.
Okay. And in Dubai, how are insurances sold there? It's a pretty young market, I suppose.
It's a pretty nascent market right now, to be very honest, Dr. Robin. So the thing is, it's a highly broker-dominated market over here. So Dubai is a market that I would just not speak of. So I'll speak of the entire MENA and the GCC region. So despite the fact, as I always press, like around 192 insurers in the region, we are still a very broker-dominated market. Till now, even as mentioned by George, not too different. We do have those instances where customers feel a lot more comfortable buying insurance from a person itself. The trust so far has not been built when it comes to the insurance companies or the digital channels. So the trend is kicking in, because we do have insurance aggregators coming in slowly and gradually, but it's pretty, majorly the dominance is still by the broker model, and the agency model, it's still there.
Okay. Well, in Germany, traditionally insurances were also sold by agents, non-tied and tied agents. Nevertheless, aggregators have received a large part of the pie, especially in car insurances and other simple insurances, PLC insurances. And in more complex topics like disability insurances, they are not so much far progressed. But we've seen that we have a part of the agents that are very productive, that generate a lot of revenue, and another part of the agents, the long tail actually, which consists where There are some sales organizations where there are more non-productive agents than agents. While those could have lived off in transparency and some topics in the last decades, we see that they actually are going out of business a lot. A lot of large sales organizations are trying to get rid of the long tail of agents that are not professional or that are not making so much revenue. But we also have seen actually is the decline of the sales agent, but very slowly only the customers here change their behavior a lot in other areas of life and not yet so much in the insurance business.